Just as a warning throughout this entire thing, I get progressively more angry, so yeah, watch out for that. In the past, I have discussed Zionism among many groups and peers, and having much personal experience can digress the situation of pursuit of my own journey with it. Down below are many examples of what Zionism can be defined as from a non-privileged Middle Eastern, actually Israeli perspective, where we are not talked over for what we are trying to explain it as what it really is. So here you can see many different things. So the definition of Zionism is right here. Just to back this up, it can also be found the exact way with more historical information, with historical figures and a time date included, exactly what Zionism is, which also completely backs up and supports the existence and reality of this. Then we have this. All of these are done by different creators that will be recommended by the end of the slideshow. Okay, what is tokenization? The understanding is that the Israeli cause includes the acceptance of reliberation of the ancient indigenous Israelites and, contrary to belief, the two-state solution. Tokenization of beliefs against this include accusation, demonization, and propaganda. All of these big three, which we will go into what sort of claims are being made and what can be testified against them to show that we need to fact check ourselves back into reality. So definition of meaning for tokenization is basically taking a group of minority and basically turning them into a majority, person of privilege, bigotry, accusation, or way of thinking pick me. So, for example, let's take another cause. Let's say that you have men saying something, or like incels, saying something like, oh, well, what was she wearing? Like, why would she call the police? Why didn't you just say no? When women are murdered for saying no, women are raped regardless of what they wear. Children as young as 1-year-old have been raped even by close family. And, you know, in Latino culture, a pedophile is always more accepted than even a gay person would be, which is just not normal and shouldn't ever be. And knowing this and knowing women are oppressed, there will be pick-me girls who often side with men and start fights among women, feeling like they are their competition rather than standing with them. And all of this to get approval from the majority. Another example can be in trans rights, from a individual named Gavin, who for a very long time ran the internet with his transphobic cis friends because he wanted their approval, and it had turned many neo-pronoun users to suicide, which was a pick-me situation that got way out of hand and hurt a lot of people. The way that this would translate to pick-me's in Zionism would be an anti-Semite convinces an Israeli of any religion or mixed race or Jew to be an anti-Israel kind of, in quotations, activist, thinking they need to give up their homeland or give up their identity just to survive or be supported as progressive by those who have no idea what's actually going on in the conflict, erasing anything they know about actual history and denying any comparison, which we will get into, because others around them have told them that they need to stop existing, and they're trying to curb that by turning on everyone who is fighting for their homeland by saying all these nasty accusations that have been fed to them so that they can survive among their goyim, so that, you know, whatever source of comfort they feel better provided being surrounded by bigotry by joining it. This slide now allows us to go into the next slide, as in we are now going to be diving into digging up what the problem is. For some aggravating reason that even though others do not listen to minorities about their own causes so much of the time, for some reason The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is the least fact-checked conflict, to the point it has gotten so out of hand that millions have died at the hands and the cost of these lies. Now, at the top, you cannot see it, but it is in quotations, as to say the claim here is that Israel is a colonial state, and in reality, it says right here why Israel is actually indigenous. So I will let you all read this. More information on this can be asked afterwards. I can take time to take questions after this PowerPoint is done, and on YouTube, it will be quite all right by me to keep my comment section turned on to get all of your requests as to what you want to know. Here it says Israel's bombing Palestinians are apparently innocent. Which oftentimes innocent Palestinians do get killed in the mix of things. That is true, but this is because Israel is being instigated by a terrorist organization who is building weapons under the homeland and using the Palestinian citizens as shields when Israel only tries to strike down the terror targets that the terrorist organization has built that is trying to strike them down, which I will get into. So there's another claim that Israel is apartheid, and this is actually untrue, as the Muslim population is over 30%, and they do not enjoy legal safety, but they do enjoy safety from their peers, and while more untalked about, are able to safely walk the streets, do their practice, and go into the workforce and field without being oppressed for not being Jewish. Many different individuals who are Muslim, non-Muslim, not Jewish, Russian, Ethiopian, a bunch of this is actually because of the fact that when there are Iraqi Jews, like, or Mitzri Jews, or Ashkenazi Jews, or Christians, Muslims, whatever, many of the Jews that come from like Africa, the Middle East, or places in Europe that now are mixed race, were basically 12 different tribes, and this has allowed them to be even further diverse in ethnicity. And many people don't know this due to the erasure and denial of history, which has not allowed them to know anything about what kind of races are actually in Israel other than Jewish, apparently. So, and why are we infantilizing Palestinians again exactly? And you may be asking why I'm asking, why are we infantilizing them? They're going through a lot. Well, hold on a minute. What is Hamas's responsibility in all this? Known sometimes as freedom fighters to justify their crude actions when they are actually war criminals who have been protested out of jail by activists on Twitter, of all things, for stabbing and having explosives fired at many Israelis in their streets by breaking into the country past the wall. Any country has border security, but funny enough, the internet has managed to gaslight Israel into thinking it shouldn't have border security when every other country does. They just want the deaths of Jews and the non-existence of an indigenous state, showing their inherent racism. This is denied through fake activism and manipulation of many throughout so many years that has become too mainstream to point it out, and it can feel justified even though it is not. Further proof of this is the fact that in the 2000s, Palestine was struggling and attempting to make peace with Israel, and Israel was attempting to support Palestine, and they were actually making a lot of progress. They were about to achieve a two-state solution. However, when Israel finally pulled out and stopped occupying the territory in 2014 or so, 2004, I think it was actually, somewhere around 2004 to a bit further than that. They unoccupied that area at the West Bank. They had done the Gaza Strip earlier, so this was just the process of that. And then suddenly Hamas, a terrorist organization and a new form of government, which was quite fascist, took over, and it split their progress of peace apart. because the government that came into power, all they wanted was to kill Jews and have control. And just to see more reliable for this, there will be information. The internet was the biggest tool used to brainwash everyone into supporting Hamas without realizing it. They would recycle information. They would take random pictures from places that didn't make sense. People who weren't even Palestinian, or people who just wanted to rile up the conflict, or trolls, or 14-year-olds on the internet seeking validation. Who wanted to be Arabic so bad would post random stuff like this. They would end up harming other causes, or bringing so much misinformation in that people didn't know what to connect, and too much was being thrown at them that if they pointed out that this was false, they'd be accused of being horrible people and such. So it was very hard because the internet would turn on them if they saw anything or stated it. This as well, the internet having to side with a lot of propaganda, when in reality, a lot of it is false. This is usually how it is. I'll just let you read this on your own. And the infantilization of Palestinians thinking they can do no wrong, and the demonization of Israelis doing anything, has led to never noticing when Palestine is doing unprogressive and wrong things, and when Israel is apparently doing anything that any normal country would do, which would be seen as progressive, just to pick it at it and nitpick anything it does, which is unacceptable as well, because it's a biased perspective and it's false and it's harming a lot of people. So here's their fighting style. As you can see, Israel had to install the Iron Dome to explode the missiles in the air. So basically the Iron Dome fires missiles into the air, and Hamas is striking targets at Israel, and they will explode in the air when they meet each other. As I said, nothing is very fact-checked in this conflict when it comes to inciting hatred against Israel, because if anyone did any specifically written sentences rather than just saying Israeli-Palestinian conflict and looking into the news, they would see that there is many things that prove exactly why Hamas is terrorist and why Israel has been making its best efforts for peace, and that this fighting style is violating multiple human rights. So, knowing this, basically you can now do the opposite of being an anti-Zionist, and hopefully that progress can help save a lot of people in the conflict and stop millions of lives from being murdered. I shall let you take a second to read this. If that's not enough to make you a better activist, you can also consider checking out these people, as a lot of their information has pictures as proof, a lot of easy to read things. You can scroll through all of their accounts, follow them, look through everything else. Basically just check into all of the information they share. They'll usually have documentaries, pictures, news broadcasts on it. Some things may be a little reposted, so you have to look around a bit. However, there is a lot of information. And also, don't believe everything these accounts here. Piece together what different individuals are saying and come to your own conclusion, and fact check it wherever you would like. That is always important, no matter who you are looking into. Yeah, see ya.